Together for the fourth and final time this year. The Magic have won the 2 of the previous 3 meetings. Starting lineup presented by Steak and Shake for Orlando. Steve Francis and Doug Christie in the backcourt. Christie had 4 steals Thursday against Atlanta. Kelvin Cato, Dwight Howard, and Grant Hill for Orlando. And for Philadelphia, it'll be Allen Iverson and Andre Iguodala in the backcourt, and Samuel Dalembert, who had a huge game against the Magic 3 weeks ago tonight in Orlando, will start at center. Corliss Williamson is in the starting lineup along with Kyle Korver. Williamson getting the nod over Kenny Thomas tonight, who injured his ankle last night in Toronto and will not play this evening for Philadelphia. So Williamson gets only his 4th start of the year. The opening tip is controlled by Philadelphia, and we're underway on a Saturday night from Philly. Magic start the game with Doug Christie defending Allen Iverson. Francis got a hand on a pass from Iguodala, stolen by Christie. And Steve Francis forces the first turnover of the night.
Right away defensively saw Doug Christie go way underneath that high screen for Allen Iverson. So you pretty much get the idea. The Sixers very much aware they got to keep Allen Iverson out of the lane.
Dwight Howard unable to connect on the jump hook. Francis will get out of traffic and reset the offense for the Magic. The matchup inside, Howard defended by Williamson. Magic went to that matchup on the first possession. Grant Hill fires in the jumper to give Orlando a 2-0 lead.
76ers very much a vulnerable defensive team. They have a couple of principles that they adhere to on a regular basis. They front the post, they trap all pick and rolls, but in doing so they leave a lot of open shooters, consequently give up a lot of good looks at 3-point shots. Speaking of 3-point shooters, Kyle Korver.
Grant Hill had the ball knocked away, and the drive by Hill is goaltended by Dalembert. Andre Iguodala got a hand in the face apparently. He's a little bit rattled. Give the bucket though to the Magic.
That's a very small front line for Philadelphia, with the exception of Samuel Dalembert. Blocks just under 2 shots a game.
Corliss Williamson drives to the basket. We're tied at 4.
Tough matchup for Dwight Howard and Corliss Williamson, yet throughout Corliss' career he has had problems with taller, longer defenders. He tends to not think post up and goes out on the floor where he's less effective.
Rebound off the miss. Iverson racing up the floor. Misses the shot. I think Francis had a handful of jersey as Iverson drove by. Iverson gets the loose ball.
David, you get the feeling he's going at a different speed than everybody else?
Always.
About 180 RPMs. Everybody else is 90. He's a whippet.
Dwight Howard stepped out of bounds.
What a frightening feeling when Iverson is coming at you in the open floor. Even when you make him go to his left, still able to get in the lane and create an easy shot.
He gets the assist that time. Philly leads by 4. Christie off of a Howard screen. Off of Dwight Howard, out of bounds to Philadelphia.
Iverson with the behind the back. At least that time Doug Christie thinking at least take away that right hand. But it is not a one-man job trying to contain Allen Iverson.
3-point attempt by Iverson, rebounded by Francis. Steve goes between his legs at midcourt. And now goes one-on-one against Iverson. Steps through the double team. The shot clock is at 9. The rookie Iguodala defending Grant Hill. And Iguodala deflected the ball to Iverson, and a foul on Francis. Boy, he is just so fast up the floor, faster than anybody in this league. Maybe Earl Boykin, Speedy Claxton, but
well, two crafty veterans here with Steve Francis, all he wanted to do was run in front of Allen just to try to disrupt that shot. We take a look at our Toyota keys to the game. Always a good idea to take care of the ball. The Magic are 28th in the league with 16 turnovers. Again, Philadelphia happens to be #1 in forcing them. And you want to take the ball inside, despite the fact that D'Alembert is a shot block threat, but you'd like to get him into foul trouble. And that dominate the boards. That kind of worked the other night against Atlanta when the Magic didn't play a complete 48 minutes of good basketball because they were so tough on the boards. Able to get off to a good start. And of course, we've already mentioned the Dwight Howard 20 rebound game, 11 of them at the offensive end.
Philadelphia has not been a good rebounding team this year. They did out-rebound Toronto in their win last night, 106-91. Grant Hill has all 6 Magic points. Philadelphia leads by 4 with 8:15 to go in the first. Iguodala, tough bounce pass that's picked off Cato. A long pass ahead to Hill. And a nice job by Hill to catch up to the ball and lay it in.
And avoid Allen Iverson, who did exactly what Steve Francis tried to do to him before, just cutting in front of Grant to try to bother him.
Magic looking to push the ball again, but Philadelphia gets back defensively. Howard backing in on Williamson, and it is out of bounds.
How about that stat last night for Philadelphia against Toronto? Officially in the stat sheet gave up no fast break points. According to Jim O'Brien, who keeps a stat on everything. According to their stats, did give up 6 fast break points.
Williamson turned his head, and that'll be goaltending, I guess, on Philadelphia.
Yeah, D'Alembert looking quizzically. I don't think Corliss Williamson can jump that high to goaltend.
Huh. It looked like it went over the rim, didn't it? Yeah. The shot, but they
maybe somebody hit the rim
to Dwight. Must have been something like that,
or grab the net, or one of those many different things you can do.
Korver's 3 is no good. He's a 3-point gunner. Game tied at 10. Grant Hill, who has 8 of the 10, the All-Star. Looked like he got hacked on the arm, but must have been all ball from Kyle Korver. Iverson pushing the action once again and scores.
Difficult shot that time by Allen on the move. He makes that move going to his left so well. That little in-between shot, that little 7-8 footer, so difficult. And Allen takes so many of them that he's got to be extremely confident with all shots.
Allen Iverson played 42 minutes last night. This will be an offensive foul on Hill. That's Grant's first personal. It goes as a turnover as well. The 3rd of the first period for the Magic, who trail by 2. Orlando with a win in Orlando on January the 22nd against the Sixers. Iguodala catching it in close. Cato with the smart foul. And Andre Iguodala, the rookie out of Arizona, will go to the free throw line.
Well, the 76ers consider Iguodala their best perimeter defender. That's saying something for a guy that only played 2 years of college basketball. They're trying to get him to be more aggressive offensively. That's the always ongoing search to find scoring help for Allen Iverson. Doesn't seem to be anybody that has ever felt comfortable in that role. I thought Keith Van Horn was doing a decent job of it, getting about 17 a game along with Iverson. That's about as good as you can do. Way back when Allen was a rookie, Jerry Stackhouse averaged 20 a game, but that didn't work at all.
No, bad basketball team back then. They were both very young, however. Iverson under the rim and reverses it in. 8 points for Iverson. He's got 8 of Philly's 15. The Sixers lead is 3. Make it 1. As Steve Francis buries his first jumper of the night.
Well, Allen Iverson is making it look way too easy with his ability to get into the lane. The big guys have to be looking to help out. You don't want to help out so much that you're going to give D'Alembert or Corliss Williamson an easy lay-in, but you've got to be looking to help your teammates right now while Iverson is being so aggressive looking for a shot.
This foul is on Dwight Howard. Dwight's first. It'll put Corliss Williamson on the free throw line. Williamson has had a terrific basketball career. Not very many players that can claim they've won an NBA championship and a college championship. Corliss Williamson has done that with Detroit and with Arkansas back in the early 90s.
1994 to be exact. 10 years in the league for Corliss Williamson. Just came in as the big nasty out of Arkansas as a smallish type of big forward who has a very effective low post game. Wow.
Iverson getting to the basket again, but missed that time. Beautiful crossover by Francis, and the hop step gets him open.
And the crowd behind us oohing and eyeing with that move by Steve Francis. I don't know if in admiration or they thought he walked on the play.
A little of both, I think.
I think he did both.
Oh. D'Alembert stepping outside with the jump shot. You don't see that very often from young big man. And another offensive foul against Orlando. This one on Steve Francis. And that is his second personal. So Steve is likely to take a seat on the Magic bench. Philly leads by 2. We're back in Philadelphia where the Sixers lead the Magic by 2 with 5:26 to play in the first period. Steve Francis just picked up his second personal foul. And he'll be coming out of the game. Tonight's Taco Bell outside the bun. The Magic have only won in visiting cities with a winning record, only 4 different cities. Of course, one of them is Philadelphia, a 17-15 record. And if we could just get a few more games scheduled in Tokyo, then who knows how strong this team could be. That was back in, what, 96, 97, I think, early in the season, a pair of games against New Jersey.
Did you make that trip?
I did.
Have you recovered?
Barely. It was a lot of fun, actually. It was very interesting. Tokyo Dome, packed back-to-back nights. Iverson now defended by Jameer Nelson. Williamson driving on Howard, missed the shot. Dwight Howard with the rebound. Nelson in the game for the foul play. Steve Francis. Jameer, a local hero here. Everybody talking about Jameer Nelson. Great college star in St. Joe's. And he gets the assist to Doug Christie, and Orlando ties the game at 18.
Well, last time we saw Philadelphia a few weeks ago, Jameer had himself an outstanding game. And forget about the 12 points. That was much needed, but 7 steals in that game. He really set a tone defensively.
Korver with that quick trip. And the ball tipped around, and the Sixers come up with the loose ball. Iverson for 2. 10 points for Allen Iverson, half of Philadelphia's first period total. D'Alembert rebounds. Christie almost had the steal. Iverson drops it off to Williamson. So far, Allen Iverson is just totally destructive against the Magic defense.
Well, you know, when you think points in the paint, you think low post game, you think second shots, stickbacks, but points in the paint, and Philadelphia has just killed Orlando in that phase of the game, but it's mainly because of Iverson's penetration. Whether he's scoring himself, whether he's dishing off, or even if he's missing a shot in there, it turns into a good offensive rebound for especially a guy like D'Alembert. And
meanwhile, Grant Hill continues to put up some big numbers in the first quarter. 12 points for Grant Hill. A 2-point lead for Philadelphia. Also in the game for Philly is veteran Aaron McKee. Iverson behind the screen. D'Alembert takes the rebound away from Cato, and a foul on Kelvin. Cato had the inside position, but somehow D'Alembert outfought him for the rebound. And that's personal foul number 2 on Kelvin Cato. Tony Battie will check in along with Hedo Turkoglu, and D'Alembert goes to the free throw line.
D'Alembert still a raw player, but has such terrific instincts and really plays well with and off Allen Iverson. Kind of follows him around, looks to get those little dishes, get those lobs, and he's been effective on the offensive boards tonight.
That was only the 4th team foul on the Magic, so no free throws coming for D'Alembert. Iverson once again right in the middle of the Magic defense, but Tony Battie got a piece of the shot.
Iverson just stops. Felt he got grabbed on the play, didn't get the whistle. All kinds of frustration on the part of Iverson.
Christie's shot is way off target. Iverson spending a lot of time in the paint, and the foul. This one on Tony Batiste. And the Magic with timeout and 2:59 to play in the period.
Doug Christie walking off for this timeout and blessing himself. He's going to need a little bit more help than that from his teammates. It's going to take a whole gang to stop Allen.
Sixers lead the Magic by 4 just before the start of tonight's game. Our national anthem singer was of special interest to the Magic, especially for assistant coach Paul Westhead.
Once again, Danielle Westhead.
That was before the game. 15-year-old Danielle Westhead, proud Uncle Paul with the flowers and the kiss on the cheek. A beautiful young lady and a proud uncle right there, Paul Westhead. He watched young Danielle perform the national anthem. Very talented young girl, local high school 9th grader. And I understand this was probably her biggest moment in entertainment. She's done some local theater. A big crowd watching her tonight. They seem to really enjoy it. Jameer Nelson's first jumper of the game is no good, and a rebound to Aaron McKee. The 76ers with a 5-point lead. Allen Iverson already with 13 points for Philadelphia. Leading scorer in the NBA at 29 per game. But this time an offensive foul on D'Alembert as he cleared out a spot for Iverson to continue moving toward the basket.
Well, it's the Magic philosophy to send everything to the middle, and in many cases that's been effective for them. But with a guy like Iverson, and the last time we saw this team a few weeks ago, a couple times by accident, they forced him to do that, go down to the left baseline and make him take a tough shot.
And shot by Hedo Turkoglu gets Orlando back to within 3.
Now, first time the Magic have shown zone defense. And the guy that you have to worry about here is Kyle Korver.
There he is, Korver. Inside to Mark Jackson. Korver has time to take a dribble and look down at his feet. D'Alembert had the rebound. Looked like he might have taken a couple of steps. And that's off of the Magic. Dwight Howard got a hand on that as Nelson was trying to throw it off of D'Alembert, and then Dwight got a piece of it.
Yeah, Kyle Korver getting loose for that corner jump shot. Maybe he had too much time to line that one up as Tony Batiste tried to help out in the lane.
Deshaun Stevenson in for the Magic as well. Korver gets into the Magic defense and puts it in. Long pass to Howard. He saves it back out to Turkoglu with 1.5 to go in the period. Deshaun Stevenson almost slips. Somehow stayed on his feet. The ball's out of bounds. Howard touched it last. '76ers with a record of 24-26. And going into tonight's NBA games, number 8 in the Eastern Conference. Magic number 6 in the East, and just a game and a half, or 2.5 rather, ahead of Philadelphia. And there's a foul on Turkoglu. The Magic only 3 games ahead of 9th place Indiana.
Well, David, there's that type of play I'm talking about with D'Alembert just making himself available as Tony Batiste came over to help out. Job by Hedo Turkoglu to get down there and force a poor free throw shooter D'Alembert try to earn them from the free throw line.
D'Alembert 63% for the year. Pat Garrity in for the first time tonight for Howard.
You know, David, a lot of people around basketball disrespecting the Atlantic Division as of today. They've got 2 teams that are in playoff contention, and when you look at Philadelphia's schedule, they have played 6 less home games than they have played on the road, and Boston has played 1 more home game than they have on the road. So you would have to give the advantage to Philadelphia right now for even winning the Atlantic Division.
That's a good point. Philadelphia and Boston right now are 7 and 8 in the Eastern Conference, 7th and 8th best records. And Philly with Jim O'Brien at the helm, they've only played 22 home games and 28 on the road. So obviously their schedule is going to lighten up a little bit at some point.
And Chicago, who has played very well for the last 6-7 weeks, they're at 500, and they have a very difficult schedule come March and April.
Mark Jackson was double teamed. Iverson covered by Nelson. Iverson behind the screen fires in another jumper. He has 15 in the period, and the 76ers lead is 7. Tony Battie. And the Sixers will play for the final shot of the quarter. Iverson played 42 minutes in the game last night in Toronto. He has been a whirling dervish in the first 12 minutes tonight. Nelson turned his head just long enough. Doesn't take much for Iverson to scoot past him, and another foul on the Magic. This one on Battie, his second. And Allen Iverson goes back to the line.
Now, David, Allen Iverson is certainly quick enough, talented enough to handle the ball and get the lane. But now if you're going to let him carry the ball like that, that is really putting the defense at a disadvantage. I mean, that's unbelievable. He carried the ball about 5 times on that possession.
But in his defense, he's not the only guy in the league.
No, he's only one of about 350. But you've got no chance. Even if you could put hands on this guy, it would be very, very difficult. But when you can't guy to guy or get a hand out on him, and then a guy can get that little hop step with the carry, all you can do is back off, sag, and make him take jump shots.
He's done a little bit of everything, even a steal here at the end of the quarter. And that shot was on line, but too strong. So that is how the first period will come to an end, with Allen Iverson leading the way. And the Sixers shooting 11 free throws to no free throws for the Magic in the first 12 minutes. Iverson with 17 points in the quarter. And the 76ers lead the Magic 31-22. Wednesday night, the Sports Talk Live crew goes to Daytona to discuss the latest in motorsports. Did the NASCAR point system work last year? Who's the favorite for this year? Find out when host Whit Watson welcomes Mike Bianchi, David Lamb, and the voice of NASCAR on Fox, Mike Joy. Sports Talk Live from Daytona, Wednesday at 7 p.m. Exciting time for race fans in Central Florida and all across the USA. Steve Francis going to the basket and will get to the free throw line for the first time tonight. It'll be the first Magic free throw of the game as well.
Magic coming off that pick and roll on the strong side of the floor, drawing the double team and quickly getting it over to the other side. And this is where Philadelphia gets hurt defensively with that kind of double team and with fronting the post if you attack it. Jim O'Brien calling out to his team, watch your half-court trap. This is an ideal time to zone up against this Sixer ball club with no Iverson on the floor right now. Full court trap. See if they settle back into a zone.
Willie Green is checked in. Aaron McKee's shot is no good, but tipped in by Mark Jackson. Philadelphia working very hard on the boards tonight. After rebounding well last night in Toronto, here's an offensive rebound for Battie. But McKee gets the loose ball for Philly. Mark Jackson just inside the three-point line, maybe a bit beyond his range. Francis defended by Iguodala. Steve dribbles around a Garrity screen. The pass to Nelson, the shot out of the corner is no good. Offensive rebound, Francis, and a foul on McKee.
Kind of a half-hearted effort on the part of the 76ers with trying to trap that high pick, and you see how you can get an open shot with good quick ball movement, and Jameer Nelson winding up with a wide open shot. And the other thing that you get here, and it's one of the reasons why Philadelphia is not a good rebounding team with all that scrambling, is you get that those little seams and cracks to get to the offensive board, and Steve read it very well. But there's no question Philadelphia has made it a point of emphasis lately. They've been getting out rebounded so much. It's a cause of some of their losses of late, and they did out-rebound Toronto tonight, and they've been much more aggressive on the boards here.
Jim O'Brien in his first year as head coach of the Philadelphia 76ers, and done a pretty good job without Iverson. You take the rest of this roster here, Matt, and not a lot of big time support around Allen Iverson on this team.
But they figured to pretty much be right around that 500 mark. They're 3 below now. They have, counting tonight, 3 home games before the All-Star break, and probably be right where they should be. I don't know why the expectations would be any higher for this group of players. But in Philadelphia, of course, it is.
So 2 games under 500 going into tonight as Willie Green missing in close in the rebound to Nelson. Francis almost broke Iguodala's ankles with that crossover.
Yeah, Iguodala's kind of chuckling, saying thanks for not making me look real bad.
Turkoglu made his first shot tonight, and he'll get to the line on the drive to the basket. He's fouled by Aaron McKee. McKee's second personal. And after shooting no free throws in the first period, the Magic have done a better job of attacking the basket in the second. Francis already with 3 free throws in the period, and now Turkoglu rattles the first one in. Kyle Korver returns for Aaron McKee.
Yeah, Jim O'Brien does not like to keep Kyle Korver off the floor too long, whether it's with or without Allen Iverson. Of course, with Iverson out there, Korver helps spread the floor. And right now they need some kind of a scoring threat, and Willie Green will give them that.
Nelson had to steal. Garrity bats it ahead, but Iguodala hustling back gets it back for Philly. And Willie Green launches a 3. Philly going to the offensive boards, and the Magic a bit flat-footed there. Corliss Williamson with the putback. Williamson now has 9 for Philadelphia. Willie Green got a hand on it. Jameer gets it back, shoots from 20.
Must be a wet spot there.
Hedo Turkoglu deflects it away from Green. 3-on-1, Francis, and a foul on Williamson. Boy, Steve Francis is so strong, taking the ball strong and finishing despite contact from defenders. Remarkable the way he's able to do that.
Hedo Turkoglu and Jameer Nelson teaming up nicely to come up with that steal, and Steve Francis in this game picked up 2 relatively quick personal fouls, had to go to the bench, but since he has come back out on the floor, has done nothing but attack the basket, and it's always a good idea for Steve. Not only can he finish himself, but he can draw those fouls.
And Steve Francis's free throw makes it a 4-point game. 9-4 in the period in favor of the Magic. They trail by 9 at the end of the first. There's all of this with Iverson on the bench getting a break. Williamson jump hook, and it goes in over Dwight Howard. 11 for Corliss Williamson.
Dwight has to do a better job of taking that middle lane away from Corliss Williamson. He's got to cut that off, make Williamson turn to the baseline.
Howard fouled before the shot by Iguodala. That's the rookie's second. We'll be back in a moment from Philly. Tomorrow at 6, the Magic take on the New Orleans Hornets. It's Hardwood Classics 90s night, featuring a halftime performance by Young MC. Get to the game early because the first 5,000 fans receive a highly collectible Discount Mattress Barn Steve Francis McFarland figure. Great seats still available. They start as low as $10. You can purchase them online at OrlandoMagic.com, or you could call 1-800-4NBA-TICKS. Allen Iverson returns to the lineup for Philadelphia. He was terrific in the first 12 minutes for Philadelphia.
Well, David, his body is battered and bruised. He's got a partial tear of the rotator cuff. He's battling the flu. But he never forgets where his offense is. He can certainly get his own shots. Let's keep an eye on his carrying the ball. And I guess the more that he is able to do that without being called for it, the more leeway he's going to take.
And why not?
I'd be complaining a little. I'd be sending tapes. Right before you play Philadelphia, load up a whole bunch of those carries by Iverson. Just put it in the mind of the officials. Even if you get only one call, it would make Allen think a little bit.
Well, now Steve Francis taking on the Iverson challenge for the first time tonight. Doug Christie started the game defending Iverson. Iverson backing in, forced a shot. Howard with the rebound. 5-point lead for Philadelphia. Iverson inside to Howard, and a foul on Dallenberg, and Dwight takes a bad spill. But he comes up smiling.
Allen Iverson's last attempt to get to the basket, all kinds of contact, and didn't get the call. Stayed back there to talk to the official, and
right
that
in the face.
Yeah, that made the Philadelphia defense break down, and Steve Francis found the open man, but Dwight Howard paid dearly for it.
Howard and Francis, the only two Orlando players to start all 49, now 50 games. Tonight, game number 50. By the way, for Grant Hill, it is his 48th game. And remember, 47 was the number that Grant had played in 4 seasons with the Magic before this year. So already this season, Grant Hill playing in more games than in the previous 4 years. And still strong as ever. Orlando going to zone up this time with Grant Hill on the point. Throw it inside to Dallenberg, then outside to Iverson. And Iverson just steps right through there and lays it in.
Yeah, even though it wasn't sharp or crisp, just the fact that they made that interior pass against the zone made it collapse and draw it towards the basket. And now you get good opportunities when you get it back out on the perimeter with a shot or a drive.
Francis's jumper was challenged by Iverson. Here he comes, a 6-time All-Star. Going to start for the Eastern Conference out in Denver on February the 20th. Grant Hill will be a teammate. Iguodala throws it up top. Back into Dallenberg, and that is so easy. It's just not what you would expect. To be able to throw it outside unchallenged and inside unchallenged.
Grant Hill at the top of that zone dropped all the way down when the ball was in the corner to try to help out on Dallenberg, who was set up inside, and that let Corliss Williamson catch easily, and Steve Francis gets a poke in the eye.
Drops the ball. Iverson picks it up. Dallenberg drops it, so the Magic have a chance to get out of this. But Iverson makes him pay. 21 for Allen Iverson. Francis is on the deck. And the easiest steal for Allen Iverson this year, and he already ranks 3rd in the league. But he'll not get one easier than this. Let's see what happened to Steve. Right there, he got slapped right in the face. Accidentally by Allen Iverson. And the Sixers wind up scoring on the play and lead by 10.
ACC basketball on Sunday.
Online in order right now at OrlandoMagicShop.com. Doug Christie checks in for Steve Francis. Trainer Ted Arzonico continues to work on Steve. Grant Hill also re-entered for Orlando. And Philly's off and running again, leading by 10. Korver for 3. Another assist for Allen Iverson, and the Sixers build a 13-point lead.
Korver's first of the night was 1 for 4 from beyond the arc in Toronto last night. His only 3 points in 32 minutes. The 76ers in a it's a matchup zone or whatever. They very rarely play a straight 1-2-2 zone, but certainly looked like one there.
It did look like a matchup. Iverson shovels it ahead to Williamson. Well, how many field goals does Philly have at the basket?
28.
Thank you.
Since you asked.
Williamson's got 13 total. There's a nice driving shot by Hedo Turkoglu to cut into that Philadelphia lead. Now 13.
Coming out of that timeout, Allen Iverson went down on the bench to check on Steve Francis. He knew he caught him in the face or eye area. To make sure Steve was all right.
Iverson with the jumper. 15-point lead again for the 76ers. Grant Hill quickly gets 2 back for the Magic. Scoring parade in the second period. We still have 5:12 to play in a quarter. Sixers already sitting on 50. Here goes Iverson. Knocked out of bounds. Allen wanted a foul that time. Take a look at how Francis got hurt. You'll see Iverson take a swipe right there and catch Steve in the face. And there's only 3 officials out there, so you can't expect them to see everything. Williamson missing the shot. No rebound. Dwight Howard. A dangerous outlet pass, though. Saved by Doug Christie. Turkoglu driving on Iguodala. Tough defender, and Hito missing the shot. Long pass ahead from Korver to Iverson. And a foul on Turkoglu. Boy, Allen Iverson putting on a show tonight. He puts on a show almost every night.
Just about every night. The big differences in Allen's game, sometimes he'll go one of those 7 for 24 jobs. But the thing about Allen Iverson, which makes him so tough, when he is going 7 for 24, he's getting to the free throw line 10, 11, 12, 15 times a game with his ability to draw contact.
A technical foul called on Turkoglu. Referee James Capers with that call, and Iverson will shoot the free throw, but first a technical free throw for Kyle Korver. Korver shooting 87% from the foul line, so he adds 1 more to his total and now has 8 for the night. Good news for the Magic. Steve Francis will check back in. And Iverson shooting 2 free throws for Philadelphia. He's now 6 of 6 on the line, has 22 points in the half. He's had an incredible year. His 29th year. Back-to-back 50-plus point games. Only 7 players in NBA history have done that. Iverson did it this year. Where he's going tonight, he might put 50 up in this one already with 24 points in the ball game, or 25 rather now. Francis's jumper's no good, and a rebound Iguodala. Cato getting it back, and a shot no good, but a foul on Philly. This foul on Williamson is his 2nd. And it sends Kelvin Cato to the free throw line for the first time tonight.
Philadelphia, a very strange team in that Jim O'Brien is preaching defense all the time. He's telling everybody how his team is making progress defensively when the statistics say otherwise. But Jim has his own statistics that prove it to him and his team and his coaching staff. But they are quite an offensive team, all that's going on, and when they get over 100 points, they are very tough to deal with. 19 and 5.
Yeah.
When they get over 100.
Yeah, right now they're well on their way. A 15-point lead. Francis hits the deck, does not get a call, and Dallenberg rifles in a jumper. Dallenberg's got 6. Philadelphia leads by 17, 55-38. Began breaking this thing open in the first period, late in the quarter, when they finished the first on a 9-2 run. Francis's pass a little bit low for Dwight Howard. Iverson drops it back to Korver. Nice job by Steve to cover up Korver. And a hard shot by Samuel Dallenberg. Iverson, no good. It's or rather Francis defended by Iverson. Steve upset again. Iverson for 3. Long rebound to Korver. Back out to Iverson.
How many bad shots could one team take? And I'm talking about Philadelphia. Those last 2, the jumper by Dallenberg, the other jumper by Iverson, and Steve Francis upset that he didn't get the call on his way to the basket as he was disrupted and maybe hit by Allen Iverson.
Steve's in foul humor to begin with because he got poked in the face without a foul call. And let's see what happened on this particular play.
Steve going a little hop here, and Allen Iverson caught him down low in the back area, leg area.
Kept his arms down and shoved him in the back
with the left arm.
A clever play to
Yeah. The officials
not
really
be so obvious.
You gotta protect the guy going to the basket. You also got to protect the guy when he was poked in the eye and goes down in a heap.
He's done neither for Steve Francis so far tonight. Steve picking up his 15th technical foul of the season. Philly off and running off the turnover, and this time an offensive foul against the 76ers. Iguodala picking up his 3rd. Grant Hill taking the contact there.
Iguodala out of control there, trying to be aggressive and going to the hoop. But Jim O'Brien a little beside himself right now. He yanked Dallenberg out of there after that horrible jump shot. Iguodala out of control because there's not too much you can do when Iverson takes a couple bad shots. Got to live with those.
But what he does like is an 18-point lead.
Yeah, that's
3 minutes to go.
He's probably shaking his head. How are we leading? We're not playing the smartest basketball game in the world, but the Magic are having problems at both ends of the floor and just frustrated as all get out.
Steve Francis still talking to referee James Capers. Well, we're back in Philadelphia. The Sixers opening up an 18-point lead on the Magic, 56-38, with 2:51 to play in the first half. Stay tuned for the Dodge halftime report. We'll have STL at the half as Lynn Watson and company talk about the All-Star situation, the players chosen and snubbed heading in toward the All-Star weekend. That's coming up on the Dodge halftime report. Well, Allen Iverson with 25 points in the first half of the game. Steve Francis frustrated right now. Steve with 12 to lead Orlando. Or actually, Grant Hill has 14. Those two Magic players in double figures, but been a frustrating night for Steve.
Magic looked sharp offensively early with shooting 52% from the field, but have gone ice cold. 4 for 17. Basically have stopped taking the ball to the basket with authority. Taking some bad shots.
And they've let the officiating get in their heads a little bit last couple of minutes. Howard backing in on Mark Jackson. Too strong and too high off the glass.
Oh, there's just no need to hurry against Mark Jackson, who's not a good interior defender.
Jackson is a tough low post player, however. That shot no good, though. Defended well by Dwight and Cato. Grant Hill unable to finish. Iverson, his eyes light up as Cato, the only defender there, and he fires in the jumper. 27 for Allen Iverson. And a 20-point lead for Philadelphia, their biggest.
Well, the middle of last week, they pretty much said that Allen was going to have to shut it down for a while because of the flu. Not missed a minute since they said that. Had a terrific game against Memphis here earlier in the week, although the Magic lost it by, or I should say the Sixers lost it by 3. And then 30 last night in Toronto.
He might get his per game average in the first half tonight, and he leads the league in scoring at 29 per game. Williamson with great low post position. And a rebound is lost by Philadelphia.
Well, the big difference that time, though, David, was Dwight Howard took away that right-hand move into the lane from Corliss Williamson, made him turn the other way. And then the length of Dwight Howard can become a factor.
Francis on the drive, and Iverson got him. Little hand check foul on Allen, his first personal foul of the game.
And maybe the first time in 9 years that Allen has said good call. I agree with it.
When you got 27 and a half, you're in a pretty good humor, I guess.
He's usually whining about everything.
Philadelphia is over the limit, and if Francis can focus in on one rim, and hopefully he can keep shooting the free throws well. 12 points for Steve. Still a little bit shaken up after getting poked in the eye earlier in this period.
Had to think Steve Francis got an eye full of Allen Iverson back in the day when Steve was growing up in the Washington, D.C. area, and Allen was at Georgetown. doing all kinds of things is positive things for John Thompson and the Georgetown Hoyas those 2 seasons. First pick in the draft, Allen Iverson, which really didn't surprise anybody. He was clearly the most talented player coming out of that draft 10 years ago.
Well, you know, also he settled down a lot, man. He used to be very temperamental. This shot no good. And a long toss ahead. Great catch and finish by Francis. Well, that was a special play by Steve there to make that thing work. But Iverson with only 3 technical fouls called on him this year. Just a couple of years ago, he had 18 technicals called against him. So he seems to be mellowing a little bit in his old age. Mark Jackson with the long jumper.
Well, there was always the contentious relationship between Allen Iverson and Larry Brown, and I think Allen really thrived with, for the most part. And Larry always pushing a little bit, but Allen had to show his frustration somewhere. Knew he couldn't yell at the coach, although he probably did that a time or 2.
Kelvin Cato scores for the first time from the field tonight. Only 10 seconds left in the quarter. And a 16-point lead. The foul taken by Christie. The Magic had one to give. Johnny Davis gets Steve Francis out of the ball game. Steve with 2 personals. Jameer Nelson returning. And Brandon Hunter will check in for Kelvin Cato, who also, or rather Dwight Howard, will check out rather. And Brandon checks in for the first time since coming off the injured list a couple of days back. Iverson will have his season average in the first half. 29. NBA's leading scorers got that many already. And there's a foul before the buzzer. Free throws will be coming for Jameer Nelson.
I don't know if the officials are going to say that the foul was not in the act of shooting.
Well, it's a penalty situation either way.
Doesn't matter. Oh, they're going to take a look at the replay to see if the foul was committed before the red light went on, which I think it clearly was.
Yeah, that's going to be an easy one. The officials have to review it if it's close, and close enough it is. So they'll take a look at the monitor, but I would be shocked if Jameer Nelson is not going to the free throw line.
Aaron McKee getting up in years, unable to get himself under control, and a smart play by Jameer Nelson to draw that contact. Oh, I also want to see whether or not Jameer left his feet from beyond the arc. So it'll be what are they saying, 3 or 2 free throws? 3 shots.
They're giving him 3. So a big play there. The Magic, if Jameer can take care of business on the free throw line, can cut the lead to 15. Oh, yeah. Misses the first.
Yeah.
Yeah, easily behind the 3-point line.
As of course he landed inside the free throw line. Has Jameer ever a broad jumper in high school? That's pretty good distance.
Well, he missed that one even worse than the first. Jameer was a very good free throw shooter at St. Joe's, 79%. But he goes 0 for 3 at the end of the second quarter. And Philadelphia will take an 18-point lead into the locker room. Led by Allen Iverson, the league's leading scorer with 29 points. He's got a lot to say to the officials out of midcourt, but he can't be too unhappy with his ball club leading by 18. 76ers trying to get back-to-back wins. The Magic also coming off a win Thursday against Atlanta. Right now it's all Philly, 62-44, our halftime score. On Sun Sports, our Dodge halftime report. You can take life as it comes. You can grab life by the horns. Philadelphia with a 62-44 advantage against the Orlando Magic. And yes, Elvis is in the building. Philly outscored the Magic 31-22 in both the first and the second periods. And for tonight's halftime feature, let's welcome Whit Watson and Mike Bianchi from the Orlando Sentinel for tonight's STL at the half.
Welcome to STL at the half. Whit Watson and Mike Bianchi here in Orlando. The All-Star starters announced last week. We'll check out the 5-on-5 for the game in Denver. For the East, Iverson and LeBron, Vince Carter, Shaq, and yes, Grant Hill as a starter. McGrady and Kobe in the West with Duncan and Garnett and Yao Ming, who led everybody with 2.5 million votes, the most ever for an All-Star game. How about Grant Hill, Mike? Is he all the way back?
Whit, I don't know if he's all the way back. I hope he's all the way back because the NBA really needs this guy. I don't know if he's still the best player in the league. He obviously isn't, but he's still the most beloved player in the league, Whit. There's been a lot of adverse publicity with the NBA this year, with the basketball, the Kobe-Shaq divorce. They need Grant Hill to be back and to be healthy.
And speaking of Shaq, second most votes ever for an All-Star and the most ever for an Eastern Conference player. That includes MJ. Is he more popular now in Miami?
Yeah, I don't know if he's more popular. L.A. is still Hollywood, Whit, but he is by far the most popular player in the league, bar none.
Sports Talk Live on the road Wednesday at Daytona, USA for a racing edition. We get set for the 2005 Nextel Cup season. A slew of special guests join us Wednesday.
The Sixers roaring to an 18-point halftime lead against the Magic, 62-44, and what a spectacular first half for Philadelphia's Allen Iverson, named to the All-Star team about a week ago, and Iverson showing why he is perhaps, Matty, having his best all-around year in his ninth season in the NBA.
Well, they have labeled him the point guard this year after spending the last 5 or 6 as the so-called two guard. But really, Allen is just a basketball player and a very, very good one. Having an outstanding night, as he seems to do against every night against the Orlando Magic. He also, to go along with those 29 points, has 4 assists and no turnovers. And Allen Iverson comes into the game averaging 4 turnovers a game.
Well, Iverson had 38 against Orlando 3 weeks ago on a Saturday night in Orlando, and a game the Magic were able to squeeze out a victory, 115-111. An exciting Saturday night at the TD Waterhouse Center just 3 weeks ago. Can the Magic come back here tonight in the second half? We'll find out here shortly as you look at Iverson's numbers. He also has 3 steals in the first half of the game to go with those 29 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. And Matt, the Magic, they got frustrated with the officials, and it's very tough to focus on the task at hand when you let that get into your head as well.
Well, and again, the frustration borne out, a lot of it on individual calls that weren't made, where a guy thinks he's getting fouled, where I can see why the players would get upset with the officiating so far in this game. These 3 fellas have had a very tough time, but you got to focus more on what the team is trying to do and not worry so much about the individual situation right now. And the Magic can't worry too much about the score right now. They've got to find their game here at the start of this third quarter.
Giving up 62 points in the first half. And almost turned the ball over, but get a second chance on their first possession. Nice ball movement in there, but Korver took it away from Cato. Iverson streaking down the floor again. Iguodala for 3. And the rebound, Hill. Graham had a good first half, but no scoring in the second period. All 12 of his points came in the first. And a good idea by Francis, but the ball trickles out of bounds off of Howard.
You got to get back on defense. That's a good pass by Steve Francis. A little bit hot and low, but the bounce pass was called for there. Dwight has to gobble that up.
Williamson probably got away with the travel, but then turned it over anyhow. Jump ball. Iguodala ties up Francis. Steve already with 1 technical foul tonight. Can't say too much for risk of getting tossed with a second technical.
Actually, pretty good defensive play by Iguodala after Corliss Williamson going nowhere in particular. Right idea by Steve. There's no question Iguodala got a lot of ball, but he also got a lot of body and arm. Well, Steve, as you mentioned, Dave, with already that 1 technical foul, I think he wants to stay in this game. And you got all the Magic players have to just forget about the officiating.
Nice save by Hill. But the Magic give it back. Iguodala finds Korver. They're always looking for him at three-point land, and he drills it. Kyle Korver, he is Philadelphia's #1 plus-minus guy on the floor, even more so than Iverson for the year.
And for a guy that you think of pretty much as just a three-point shooter, he has gotten a little bit better putting the ball on the floor, better athlete than you think he might be.
Sixers rebound, and here they come, leading by 21. Iverson behind his back. Williamson to Iguodala. A deflection by Cato. Francis picks it up on the run. Steve barreling through the lane. Tough break, but he'll get to the line. Andre Iguodala picks up his 4th personal.
Oh, the Magic coming out in this third quarter much more aggressive defensively, kind of like we saw them Thursday night against Atlanta in the first quarter. Challenge the dribbler, challenging the passer, getting their hand on the ball quite a bit, knocking it loose. Well, you just saw the frustration mounting late in that first quarter as Allen Iverson was just having his way, and the Magic kind of just looking around, really having no answer for getting him under control. And they let it carry through to other parts of their game. So Iguodala has to sit now with 4.
How do you like Iguodala, #9 pick out of Arizona?
Well, again,
very good rookie.
Well, he's gotten the opportunity to play, which is always key for a young player. Really improved between freshman and sophomore year at Arizona. An all-purpose type of player.
We saw Childress the other night. What was he, #6? Dang was #7. Iguodala #9. Can't remember #8. Those are pretty good players there in that lottery last June. Of course, Dwight Howard #1. Francis. A highlight reel dunk in Philadelphia.
On the launching pad, Steve Francis getting those feet planted. Steve having some fun with the crowd in the front row here in Philadelphia, which can be as tough as any in the NBA.
They've been giving him the crybaby routine. That is off of Williamson after he complained about a no call in the first half. A lot of wah-wah fans all around courtside. That might have been what he was getting back at right here.
Nice give and go with Doug Christie getting the ball right back to Steve Francis, who knows how to finish in the open floor. One more time at Steve Francis. And I'm trying to think of a better player in the NBA at that type of play, especially at 6'3", that can finish with that kind of authority.
Well, he is so strong and explosive. Iverson went for the steal. Cato can't find the basket tonight. He's got 1 field goal, and that's it so far. Iverson. Nice job by Christie to keep him out of the lane that time.
And if you're thinking Kobe Bryant and LeBron James who can do those same things, you're right, but that's fast company.
Wow. Iverson spectacular again. Christie for 2.
Not a good shot.
Iverson inside to Williamson. Howard committed the foul before the shot, I think.
Well, that's an outstanding pass by Allen Iverson, who's averaging just under 8 assists a game. Ole by Doug Christie. All he can do is wave, try to do the old reach around. Allen too low to the ground, too quick, too creative in and around the basket. David, I'm dying to get on you about not remembering the 8th pick in the draft. Isn't that Rafael Araujo by the Toronto
exactly
Raptors?
Right.
How could you forget that?
That's the one you might forget.
It would be on the lips of everybody.
That's the one that turned heads all over the NBA with that pick.
They were so desperate for some size, so they would not have to use Chris Bosh as a center, which they did most of last season. Wore him to a frazzle. He probably weighed about 205 by the end of the year. You just don't know if Rafael Araujo is the right big man. But it's early.
So far, it doesn't look good, but you're right. A little early. Dallenberg didn't look very good a couple of seasons here in Philly either, except for flashes. Turkoglu in the game. There's Howard really fighting for a loose ball. He got popped in the face. And the ball comes back out to Francis. A 19-point lead for Philadelphia. A long 3 by Steve is no good. D'Alembert rebounds for Philly. And here he comes again. The pull-up jumper, not this time, but followed in by D'Alembert. Sixers match their biggest lead of the night, 21. Howard sets a screen and pops to the basket. Ball squirts out of his hands. It's picked up by Williamson. And Iverson once again forcing the action and will get to the line.
Like giving it to the little tailback Tiki Barber or something, running right up the middle, avoiding tackles as the Magic reaching out, trying to get a hold of Allen Iverson. And that is some kind of a tall order for that little guy. You talk about Allen Iverson's passing. He's averaging just under 8 assists this year because he has the ball in his hands even more because of trying to get the ball to him in the open floor as quickly as possible. And you know, Allen's going to be 30 years old this coming June. Normally when players really start to get it as far as the game is concerned. And my sense from afar is if Allen ever really decided that he wanted to get guys good shots and get a bunch of assists, he could easily average 12 assists a game and maybe bring his scoring down. Instead of 29 a game, average about 24 a game. Make himself even more effective, make his team even better.
Well, he can go anywhere he wants to go on the court.
Yeah. And that way draw defense and create easy shots.
You know, man, you can say the same thing about Steve Francis to a large degree. Steve can go where he wants to go.
And I will.
It's true about Steve as well. Mark Jackson just beyond the free throw line, and that one trickles in. It's been that kind of a night with Philadelphia now building a 25-point lead.
Oh, they're just playing free and loose right now. Getting the Magic back on their heels in the last few minutes.
First field goal for Grant Hill since the first quarter. He's got 14.
You know, when you look at this Sixer team out there right now, with the exception of D'Alembert, who's an inexperienced player but an effective shot blocker, the other 4 players not particularly tough individual defenders. Even Allen Iverson. Allen's always up there in steals because he's a good gambler. But you make him work on the baseline and post him up. He's not thinking all that much about the defensive end other than this. Coming up with steals.
Taking it away this time from Hill. And we'll get to the free throw line once again where he is perfect, 9 for 9. And that was his 4th steal of the night. He is having just a fabulous game against the Magic. And foul on Francis is his 3rd.
Good help defense that time by Allen Iverson, but Steve Francis has to take him out of there and get a little movement off the ball. You know, I was talking with Sonny Hill, well-known basketball figure in Philadelphia before the game. We were talking about Wilt Chamberlain and some of the old guys. Talking about Guy Rogers, who passed away some 4 or 5 years ago. But Guy Rogers, a lot like Iverson in the ball handling and quickness department. Didn't have the offensive game as far as shooting or scoring, but terrific ball handler. And back in the 70s, I guess the closest guy to Allen Iverson would have been Nate Tiny Archibald. With his ability to come at you in the open floor and drive to the basket and draw contact.
Tony Battie with the face guarding penalty. That's a 15-yarder and lost it down. Well, they've got great history here, Matt. You're a part of it. Part of 2 world championships.
Well, yeah.
One as a coach, one as a player.
I was a good observer.
You were in there with Wilt and the boys in what, 67?
Yeah, I was along for the ride.
Now that must have been just great times here in this city.
Terrific, but a totally different mindset and era back in those days. With you didn't have the wall-to-wall coverage that you have now. Or with the Wilt Chamberlain on the team, obviously it was a rock star mentality.
That's a 3 for Hedo Turkoglu to get Orlando back to within 22. You know, Matt, those two modern-day Philadelphia championship teams, they have to rank up in the top 5 or 10 all-time NBA teams, don't you think?
No question about it. You're referring to Sekou Moses, Malone,
66, 67, and 82, 83.
And the 82, 83 with
Dr.
Moses,
J and
Julius Erving, Bobby Jones, Andrew Toney, Maurice Cheeks, Mark Iverson.
won 62 or 63 regular season games.
Yeah.
And so did the 66, 67 team you were on.
That team won 68.
68. Hill's following, no good. Rebounded by Dallenberg.
When you're up in the 60s, those seasons go very quickly. Boy, you don't remember anything negative going on.
A couple of those in the mid-90s, or at least one. Yeah, 60-win season. Philly with the big lead in the third. Gatorade, who's hot and who's not? 76ers shooting 53%. Orlando was 11 for 21 from the field in the first period, but since that time, 9 for 32.
And David, anytime Allen Iverson is shooting close to 50%, that's exactly where he is right now at 12 for 24. Plus he's looking to move the ball a little bit. There's times when he's not scoring. Makes Philadelphia very, very tough.
He has 36 points after that free throw goes through. Steve Francis now with 4 personal fouls, so he is on the bench. Jameer Nelson checking in for him. Tony Batiste. That shot good. His first field goal of the night.
All the times that the Magic have run those high pick and rolls either on the wing or up top, they get the 76ers to trap it. And a couple of quick passes, you get a good shot.
Iverson twisting around. Batiste will go back to the line where he'll shoot numbers 14 and 15 on the night.
Allen a little bit out of control there. He's normally the dictator as far as how he's going to take this kind of contact, but he got caught on the left knee there by Tony Batiste. That's what makes Allen so tough. He's so quick. He has got a wiry body, but very tough, very strong. And where he got better from his first couple years in the league was knowing how to initiate that contact. I thought his first couple years he was getting hit and getting hit hard, getting knocked to the floor, but he wasn't necessarily the one that was doing the hitting. And those smart little guys, they know how to just take that bump from a bigger body and fall. Johnny Davis was the coach that first year for Allen. Very difficult job with Iverson and Stackhouse.
We talked about that team earlier, and that was a wild and crazy crew there. Johnny trying to rein him in. Had no chance. Nelson, he had a tough night in his first appearance back in Philadelphia, and not going to be a memorable one, at least in a positive sense, in this one either, unless things turn around for Jameer.
And I don't think there's any question. Jameer coming back to Philadelphia. We saw it the first time we were in here at the Wachovia Center, and then the big day, Sunday afternoon game. A lot of St. Joe fans and supporters from Chester, PA for Jameer came out to show him a lot of love. But I think Jameer pressing a little bit, trying maybe too hard. And of course, it's always difficult. We mention it all the time in that backup point guard role where your minutes are subject to whether or not Steve Francis is going to be in or out of foul trouble. Of course, Jameer has played some with Steve this year, but not used to that 38 minutes a game that he was getting at St. Joe for the last 3-4 years.
Jameer's had some big games off the Magic bench. One of them 3 weeks ago tonight in Orlando, and helping the Magic get that 4-point win against Philadelphia.
Now, a lot of it was because of his defense, David. He was just getting his hand on the ball a lot, knocking it loose, creating fast break opportunities.
A jump ball with Korver and Howard tied up. And 4:13 to go in the third. Philadelphia leads by 25. And that matches their largest lead of the night. Keep an eye on Iverson. He's going to be looking to steal this one away. Howard tips it hard, saved by Nelson. And Hill gets tangled up with McKee, and a foul on Aaron McKee. That's McKee's third personal. And team foul number 3 on Philadelphia in the quarter. The 76ers 24 wins, 26 losses. Trying to battle their way back to 500.
Well, that's been their goal. They were there once early in the season, and it seems like they've been 2 games below 500 pretty much all season long. They got a good run in January when they went on a tough West Coast trip and more than held their own. Kind of a key to their season, a little bit of a turning point where they started to believe in themselves a little bit, and they played very tough at home, but have lost a lot of close games. And you don't expect that. They've got a good record in close games. They've again, whether it's by 3 points or 10 points, not so much by the point differential, but games they've had a chance to win down the stretch. That was the last time they were in Orlando. Allen Iverson in the last 2 possessions gave the ball up to Corliss Williams. Surprised everybody in the building, including Corliss.
He was having this kind of a night. Had 38 in that game.
He did it the other night here against Memphis. Passed the ball up and made a bad lob attempt to Samuel Dallenberg in a 3-point loss.
He has not made many bad decisions tonight. And a 3-second violation is called against Philadelphia. I think Mark Jackson was in there too long. Jackson had that terrific rookie season with Golden State. He averaged 13 points, 7.5 rebounds. Made a run at Rookie of the Year. If you remember, Mike Miller won it that year. And then turned that into a big contract. Still living off that. Garrity shot no good. And McKee gets the long rebound for Philadelphia.
Well, early in this part of the season, Jim O'Brien and Dick Carter, his assistant coach, defensive special, they had no confidence at all in Samuel Dallenberg. So it was pretty much all Mark Jackson as their center.
Philadelphia dodging about 6 bullets. There's Dick Carter, the defensive specialist for Jim O'Brien.
Of course, he only has one guy that he thinks is a good defensive player in the history of basketball. Ronnie Lee at Oregon. Remember Ronnie?
Yeah, sure. That's his guy, huh?
Oh, boy. Well, he used to dive for everything all game long. Everybody has come up short to Ronnie ever since.
Mark Jackson missing on the jump hook. Turkoglu drives on the rookie from Arizona. Howard got a hand on it. He's got the hands on a lot of balls, but hasn't controlled very many. Trying to tip him in tonight. Williamson runs over Garrity. Offensive foul on Corliss Williamson. Nice job by Pat Garrity. He knew he was going to get decked, and big Corliss came barreling down the lane. Garrity took the contact and the foul on Williamson. Ticket plan, become a part of the total team effort. Magic Slam Dunk 5 ticket plan features 5 great games, including Shaq and the Heat, the Sacramento Kings, and Jason Kidd and Vince Carter and the Nets. Call 407-89 Magic right now. Operators are standing by. If you'd like more information to purchase that ticket plan tonight.
You talk about bravery, courage. Wearing an Orlando Magic shirt in Philadelphia.
That's a Jameer Nelson, number 14.
Okay, well then it's all right.
Jersey. And he's wearing a 14. Nelson's wearing 14. Matt Gukas wore 14 for Philadelphia.
Whoa!
Coincidence?
I think not.
Nelson with his first field goal tonight makes it a 21-point game. Jackson throws up something sloppy, and it's rebounded by Dwight Howard. Jim O'Brien not very happy with that shot as Turkoglu fends off Iguodala. Deshaun Stevenson in the ball game. His jumper no good. Nelson with the rebound delivers to Howard and a foul. A good hustle by Jameer, wading in among the tall timber to pick up that offensive rebound.
Well, Dwight Howard has just been running in mud all night long. Had his problems early defensively against Corliss Williamson. Just seems to be a step late tonight, whereas on Thursday night against Atlanta, Dwight was just all over it. 11 offensive rebounds out of his 20.
He does have 8 rebounds tonight. And is now 3 out of 5 on the free throw line. A 20-point lead for Philadelphia as the Sixers led by as many as 25 in the game.
You know, another positive thing that I think we've seen from Dwight Howard all season long, David, is and you know, for rookies where all this is new and you have your ups and downs, he has rarely shown frustration. He's got that professional demeanor. It's so hard to come by for any age player. Now you think of a 19-year-old having it from the very beginning of his career. So everybody thinks he's going to be a special player.
Great temperament. Already a solid professional. Garrity collides with Iguodala, and another offensive foul. Pat Garrity's in there throwing his body around and making some positive things happen with some good defense.
Well, that'll earn more playing time for Pat, even if that jumper isn't falling. If you can do that, force some turnovers, and also get a little bit of a reputation as a guy that we know Pat's not going to block a lot of shots, but he's going to be a pest in the middle of the lane. With so much penetrating into the lane against the Magic, you need somebody to step up there and take that hit.
Jameer Nelson has hit a couple of shots here in this quarter. The Magic creep back to within 17. Howard with the rejection. Stevenson is off and running. Deshaun with a nice little hesitation dribble and the finish, and it is a 15-point game.
A smart play by Deshaun Stevenson. Of course, it was an open floor situation, but Philadelphia without Dallenberg, they just cannot block shots.
And without Iverson right now in the game. Williamson swatted away again by Howard, but a goaltend.
It's all right. I don't mind that goaltend. I think Dwight, you know, when Dwight got hit in the eye earlier in this third quarter, usually it lights a little bit of a fire. But even if you have to goaltend some of these, just don't let people think they're going to come in and lay it up or dunk it or any of that kind of stuff. Knock it out of there.
At least you'll have them thinking when you go in there. Garrity has to shoot that ball quickly and still drills it. Pat Garrity had 18 points 3 weeks ago against Philadelphia in that big 115-111 win. Only 23 points since that time, but that shot sure did look sweet. Nelson takes the contact and another offensive foul against Philly.
Willie Green, a very tough one-on-one offensive player, penetrates very well. Big problem in Philadelphia for Jim O'Brien is that he can't figure out a way to get Willie Green and Iverson on the floor at the same time. But outstanding defensive play by Nelson, and the Magic can cut it to 13 or 12.
Nelson leading the charge, comes off the screen with the jumper, and it's nothing but net. And the Magic do cut it back to 82-69, and a 20-second timeout is taken by Philadelphia. Well, we wondered if there was a run in the Magic tonight, and the answer is yes. To their credit, a 20-second steak and shake timeout.
And wouldn't you know, it starts at the defensive end. So much more intensity as far as starting the dribbler, and Pat Garrity stepping up and taking a couple of charges, and Jameer taking a charge. And I think Jameer, after missing those three free throws at the end of the second quarter, got that out of his system, and now shooting the ball with some confidence.
Settle down a little bit. Making some great decisions on offense, and a moment ago took a charge against Willie Green. Allen Iverson has returned for Philadelphia. The Magic on this 12-2 run with Iverson on the bench. But he's back. He has 37 points. And Nelson tries to keep the pressure up on the All-Star. Iverson to the foul line. A rebound, Dwight Howard, his 9th of the night. Boy, a basket right here, and you've still got the entire fourth quarter to play in. The Magic to get right back in the game. Garrity going to try and give it to him, and he does. It is an 11-point game with 6 seconds to play in the third. Iverson hounded by Nelson. The shot is good. And that hurts. After battling back to within 11, Iverson knocks down a 3-point field goal, giving him 40 points for the game.
Well, Allen Iverson just 29% from beyond the arc, but getting it just when the Sixers need it.
Jumper by Pat Garrity with 6 seconds to play in the quarter. They got the Magic back to within 11 at 82-71, but then a 3 by Allen Iverson at the buzzer was a big momentum lift for Philadelphia. The Magic really had the Sixers back on their heels until Iverson made the 3, giving him 40 points in the game for the 6th time this season, 40 or better, and for the 56th time in a remarkable career.
And he's already got 2 50-point games this year. Got him in a back-to-back situation against Milwaukee and Utah.
Iverson going to work again, not this time. Williamson a gift on the rebound. He's in the right place at the right time, and a foul. Turkoglu picking up his 3rd.
Now the Magic going small here to start the 4th quarter as Dwight Howard will take the center position against Sammy Dalembert. He's about the only tall player that the Sixers have. Mark Jackson 6'9", but does not play a tall game. Always more comfortable shooting 18-foot jumpers. So small front line for Philadelphia. Corliss Williamson, Brian Skinner, they signed as a free agent. Plays big and had a good season for Milwaukee last year, and the 54 games that he played for them, but he evidently does not fit into the Sixer plans.
No, that was a pretty big signing in the offseason, at least on paper for Philadelphia, but he has not played much at all. Iverson on the deck. Nelson finds Turkoglu for a 3, and a rebound by Howard, but he's going to be called for a push. Somehow he managed to muscle Corliss Williamson out of the way, which is no small task. That's 4 personal fouls on Dwight.
And another one of their big forwards who's been a starter and playing well of late, who did not get off to a good start this year, Kenny Thomas. Injured last night in Toronto, where he had a very solid game, 23 points.
Nelson is doing a marvelous job at the moment of denying the ball to Allen Iverson, which is not easy to do. That's one way to keep him from scoring.
That would always be a good idea.
He takes it on the inbounds pass and launches a 3 and drills it. 43 for Iverson. I said early in the game, Matt, it looked like it could be a 50-point night for Iverson, only half kiddingly. But it looks like he's got a great chance. Philly's back up by 18. After the Magic cut it to 11, it's now a 7-0 run for the 76ers. Howard, well, you just want to see him go up and throw that one down, don't you?
Well, once again, the pick and pop play, the same one as the Sixers, the Magic ran at the end of the 3rd quarter to get Pat Garrity an open shot. Pat, feeling that double team coming, slips to the corner. And that gets the Sixers defense running all over the place, and then you find good shot opportunities.
Howard 5 of 7 at the line tonight. Steve Francis returns with 4 personal fouls. Turkoglu checks out. Steve has 20 points and 8 rebounds. But tonight he's been dwarfed by the individual performance of Allen Iverson, who has just been sensational for Philadelphia. Iverson, who had 30 last night in Toronto, steps behind a Dalembert screen, goes galloping through the lane and draws the foul from Pat Garrity. He'll have a chance to add 2 more to his impressive tally tonight.
Yeah, I'm not all that sure that pressure being put on by Jameer Nelson in the backcourt against Iverson, you would say, well, it's making him work hard, but Iverson, obviously a workhorse, not fazed by that. And then again, you say, well, get the ball out of his hands, double team him, which that you can do. But then the problem is he's so quick and has such good instincts, can always get that ball back. And even on those nights when shots aren't falling, or sections of game when the shots aren't falling, can still do this, get to the free throw line. 10 free throws a game on average.
Yeah, 17 tonight. And he has only missed 2. And the Sixers lead is back to 18. So Orlando made a run, but Philadelphia has had an answer. Oh. Nice dish. Nelson to Howard. That time he did flush it through. Nelson trying to create havoc in the backcourt. McKee just did get over the timeline before the 8-second count. 2 minutes into the fourth period. Iverson out to Williamson. A free throw line jumper is good again. As a team, the Sixers have shot the ball well tonight. Not just Allen Iverson. They're shooting 51% as a ball club.
You can see it in their body language, their facial expression. They're just playing with a lot of confidence right now. And I think it's the sense that they know when Allen is on top of his game, shooting the ball well, shooting a good percentage, giving it up at the appropriate time, that things start to fall in place for Philadelphia. You go back to 2001 when everything went right for the 76ers as they went to the finals against the Los Angeles Lakers. Allen shooting the ball primarily. Then he was the off guard with Eric Snow at the point, but their role players, George Lynch and Tyrone Hill and Dikembe Mutombo, they treated all those missed Iverson shots as passes. They're very alert in getting to the offensive board.
Larry Brown was the head coach of that basketball team. They got all the way to the NBA Finals.
And the Magic fans ever since then have been wondering why not again.
Iverson to Willie Green. Long arm rebound by Howard. Ahead to Stevenson, crossing over against Willie Green, but can't get around him. Howard defended by D'Alembert. The shot won't go. And Green takes the rebound for Philly.
A good defense in there by D'Alembert. Did not go for that pump fake by Dwight Howard. Just stayed straight up.
That's going to be another charge taken by Pat Garrity. The third one he has taken tonight. Good hustle by Garrity.
Pat's a little winded right now. And trying to catch his breath. He's out there primarily because he's playing terrific defense, team defense.
That will do it. 3 minutes into this fourth period. Pat looking for the shot this time. And a sweet jumper by Garrity, his third field goal of the game. There's a couple of teams Pat has played very well against. L.A. Lakers one of them and Philadelphia the other. For whatever reason. Doesn't really have any rhyme or reason. It's just the way it is. Iverson hounded by Garrity, and he stepped out of bounds. Another terrific defensive job by Garrity. Iverson does not like that call. He didn't take the charge that time, but he did force Iverson out of bounds. And Garrity glad to get a break here.
Terrific movement with the feet, making Allen Iverson run out of real estate.
Well, the Magic return to Sun Sports Tuesday night when Elton Brand and the Clippers visit Orlando. Coverage starts Tuesday at 6:30 with Paul Kennedy and Magic tonight. The Clippers and the Magic Tuesday on Sun Sports. Clippers on a long road trip. That'll be game 4 out of game 5 on a road trip. Wilt Chamberlain's jersey hanging in the rafters here. And Matt, you were a guy who was on that basketball team with Wilt that won the world championship in '67.
Again, we're coming up on the anniversary of Wilt's 100-point game on March 2nd, 1962 in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Howard with the block. Francis wheeling and dealing and turning it over. But then Green can't handle it. Out of bounds it goes. Where were you the night that Wilt scored 100?
I was supposedly in my room studying, but I was listening to the game. Bill Campbell, the play-by-play voice at that time on radio, did an outstanding job, and it was really fun listening to basketball on radio back in those days.
That three-pointer by Francis gets the Magic back to within 11, which is as close as they came late in the third period. I spend many a night myself with the old battery-powered transistor under the pillow, so parents wouldn't know you were up late listening to basketball. Francis with a big rebound, and then the foul on D'Alembert, and Orlando is slowly but surely crawling back into the game again.
Well, they've done it with their defense, and the 76ers kind of losing their rhythm. And the Magic have run more little pick and pop, pick and roll type of plays, which the Sixers just do not defend very well.
This is an interesting lineup with Nelson, Stevenson, Francis, Howard, and Garrity. A small team on the floor and a team that's making a move here in the fourth quarter.
Well, it's more athletic than the Sixers with the exception of Allen Iverson, and that's why Jim O'Brien has gotten Iguodala back on the floor. He's got 5 personal fouls.
An offensive rebound for Francis. He'll pull it back out. Orlando has a chance to get the lead down to single digits. Korver defending Francis. Garrity open for 2 and cuts the lead to 9. Pat Garrity has 8 points off the Magic bench, and we've got a 9-point game with 7 minutes still to go. Pressure on Williamson. Now the Magic back off. Nelson defending Iverson. Iverson turns the corner. Iguodala picks up the loose ball and puts it in. A tough shot. It didn't have to be that difficult, but he touched it up. Nelson from Francis.
Right back at you. The Orlando Magic beating the Sixers down the floor. Actually, David, I thought Allen Iverson lost the handle on that ball, but squirted right to Iguodala.
Iverson to the basket again. He's got 47. Philadelphia leading again by 11. 97-86.
Boy, the only guy you have to worry about on the Sixers on the perimeter is Kyle Korver. Everybody else has to be in help mode to try to keep Allen Iverson out of that lane. If he's going to beat you, make him beat you from the outside.
Magic trying to turn this thing into a scrambling fourth period. Williamson, a running hook is no good. A rebound to Sean Stevenson. Not a bad plan, Matt. Philly played last night. In the fourth quarter, they could wear down a bit. Although Iverson never seems to wear down. Steve follows his own miss. 9-point game again. Under 6 minutes to go.
Well, that last defensive sequence, once again, Pat Garrity stepping way out on Allen Iverson, making him give the ball. There's Garrity again, waiting in the lane.
But Howard reached in there and got a piece of Allen Iverson. That's Dwight's 5th personal. Philly by 9. 25 points in this game. They've cut it to 9 with 5:35 remaining. Let's toast Pat Garrity now as tonight's Subway sub of the game. By Subway's new fresh oven toasted sub. Subway, eat fresh.
And Pat Garrity doing it at the defensive end, stepping in the lane, taking charges, and 4 out of 7 from the field at the offensive end for Pat Garrity. As the 76ers very much aware, even though Pat not shooting the ball well this year, making sure that he does not get the feet set for 3-point shots, running at him, making him put the ball on the floor.
Iverson on the line, shooting his 18th and 19th free throws of the game. And he's good on 16 of the 18. Now has 48 points overall. And the 76ers lead by 10. He makes them both. Philly by 11. Iverson with 49 on the game. And another steal. And another foul on the Magic. It has been the Allen Iverson show tonight here at the Wachovia Center. The fans now rising and giving Allen Iverson a well-deserved standing ovation. What a performance.
Yeah. Well, Allen Iverson, showing why he's always up among the league leaders in steals, has led this league 3 times in that department. Just reading the eyes of the rookie Jameer Nelson. It's like a free safety in football, just able to pick that right out of the air. There it is, number 50.
3rd time this year, 9th time in his career in regular season play. He also did it 3 times in postseason play. His career high is 58.
Pulse is probably about 48 right now, too. Not even breathing hard.
He's got 51, so 7 away from matching his career high. We still have 5:20 to go, and Orlando keeping it close enough to keep Iverson on the floor. Orlando needs a basket here. Francis falling away off the front of the rim. Howard got a piece of it. Let's see what we've got. It's going to go against Philadelphia. And it's against Corliss Williams in his 4th personal. Magic giving up 62 points in the first half, but doing a much better job, Matt, defensively in the second half of this game.
Totally different, much more alert, and of course the help defense in the lane turns things around. Magic kind of just hanging around in this. They can get a couple of stops and get a couple of whether a three-point shot from a Pat Garrity or three-point plays the conventional way. And make this really interesting in the closing minutes.
Iverson will go to the line again. Pat Garrity is called for his second. And Iverson will shoot 22 and 23 at the free throw line. His career high in a game is 23 attempts. And he'll match that on this trip to the free throw line. Only his third miss of the game. So Iverson now 19 of 22 on the line, trying to give Philadelphia a 12-point lead with the second. And that's a career high for Iverson with 20 made free throws in a game. 102-90 is our score. Nelson driving on Iverson. Kicks it out to Stevenson. Deshaun up and under, commits an offensive foul. A good strong drive to the basket, but Mark Jackson took the contact.
Well, a real good adjustment made by the 76ers in that last timeout, sensing that the Magic are very effective with their pick and rolls and pick and pops. And instead of trapping it, that time Allen Iverson went way under the screen on Jameer Nelson and let everybody else stay at home. That's why the charge on Deshaun Stevenson. The defense was set.
Iverson adds 2 more. We are seeing something special tonight. Allen Iverson, 54 points in the game.
He's not going to do the 60 thing now, is he?
We've got time. 4 minutes to go. Francis out to Garrity. Pat wanted to pull the trigger, but Williamson is there. Steve is fouled by Iguodala. Count the field goal for Francis and a foul on Iguodala. And he just fouls out of the game with 3:55 remaining.
A good hard take by Steve Francis. He does so well, especially late in the game. Really has a nose for not only the rim, but drawing contact, going to the basket. Also his offensive rebounding down the stretch, very important to the Magic. As long as they have the backcourt covered, has a chance to get one of those conventional three-point plays. But no answer for the answer. Boy, has he been tough, man. And making it look easy. I mean, obviously, I don't want to be too obvious, David. It's not easy to do what he's doing right now.
Meanwhile, Francis is having another very good game. He might have missed that on purpose.
Yeah.
Off the back iron. He knew where it was going.
Exactly.
It is 104-92. Iverson with 54 points in the game. Make it 56. Too shy of a career record for Allen Iverson. And the Sixers build the lead back to 14. Francis to Howard. He goes up for the dunk wisely and this time draws the foul. Johnny Davis says good job there.
And the Sixers totally confused right now how they want to play these high picks. This time stepping out hard on Steve Francis. Steve reading it very well with the cross or split of the little trap.
White on the line. He's pushing 40 minutes again in this game. Has another double-double, the 19-year-old rookie out of Atlanta with 16 double-doubles on the season.
And this small lineup very effective for Johnny Davis over the last 7 or 8 minutes, although fatigue might be setting in particular with Dwight Howard.
Nelson also having to work so hard. The two rookies out there playing big minutes and tough minutes against Philadelphia here in the fourth quarter.
The best defense on Allen Iverson has been force him somewhere to where Pat Garrity is, so he can step in and either take a charge or make him make the next pass.
Francis driving. He'll get to the line. The field goal is good. Jackson commits the personal. And count it for Steve Francis. This Magic team just keeps battling back. And Francis will go back to the line.
Now Steve Francis knows he's going to get some contact here from a much bigger Mark Jackson compared to Steve Francis. Jackson doesn't have explosion or shot blocking ability. He's in there to take hard fouls, but Steve did an excellent job of bracing for that hit and the three-point play.
And a 10-point game again with 3:19 on the clock. A lot of time left in this one. If the Magic could just do something with Allen Iverson, which they've not been able to do all night.
Sean Stevenson will take a crack at him to give Jameer Nelson a little bit of a breather.
Oh, there's a nice play. The block and the save by Nelson. Stevenson on the move. Has it knocked away by Korver and taken by Jackson. And Iverson is in the open floor again. Nelson wraps him up. Good play by Jameer. Going to be an easy basket for Iverson after the Magic turn it over. Jameer making sure that Iverson can't get that shot up to the rim. Well, the Magic looked like they were done in the third quarter, trailing by as many as 25, but they fought back to cut it to 10, although a spectacular night for Allen Iverson. The third time this year that he scored more than 50, and he's only 2 shy of his career best 58 in a game.
Well, Allen Iverson averaging 31 against the Magic in the 3 previous games has just been lethal with his ability to beat people off the dribble, get to the basket before anybody can help. And I'd say of his 56, half of them have really been challenged very well. He's really had to work for them. But so many of them have been what we call the easy variety, which is hard work on the part of Iverson with his talent and ability to get in there amongst taller players and get shots off, draw fouls.
Well, he's got 58. That matches his career high. And Philadelphia leads by 12 with 2:50 to go. Nelson head fakes Iverson, got the shot up, looked like some contact, and Jameer thought he should have gone to the line, but there was no call, and it'll be Philly basketball. The crowd at the Wachovia Center is buzzing as Allen Iverson is gunning on this possession for 60 points in a game. Sean Stevenson, now Howard trying to deny. Iverson just keeps on dribbling. Now to Green. Willie's jumper is no good, and a rebound taken by Francis. Steve in a hurry. The Magic running out of time, and a spectacular move by Francis, but the shot is no good. And a rebound picked up by Willie Green. We approach the 2-minute mark. It's a 12-point lead for Philadelphia. And a Saturday night crowd in Philly is on its feet. Iverson on the drive. No good. Rebound. Jackson blocked from behind by Howard. 1:50 left. Garrity couldn't hold on. A good idea by Stevenson. Gets away from Pat. The Magic turn it over.
You know, David, in that game back in 1962 when Wilt was approaching 100 points against the New York Knicks, they were fouling other players in the backcourt, and there used to be an automatic 2-shot foul in those days in the backcourt to try to keep Wilt from getting that 100.
Wow. Crowd wants him to get 60. Iverson here tonight. They are cheering as Allen goes one-on-one against Stevenson. He'll fire, falling away. It's rattling in and out. And a foul on Orlando. I think it'll be Steve Francis. If so, it's his 5th.
Now, I have mixed feelings about this. I tip my cap to Allen Iverson. I love the way he plays. He plays so hard. And he's leading the league in scoring at 29 a game. And these fans, and they want the fans coming out here. And they want to see him get 60. But the big picture, you got to keep that in mind. Philadelphia battling for a playoff spot. They're trying to get to 500 before the All-Star break. Allen plays tons of minutes. And in the long run, whether or not he gets 60 tonight just really doesn't matter.
No, but you know, the thing is, the Magic have kept the game close enough that they need him out there, and he continues to deliver. He has 18 points in the 4th quarter.
But Allen's clearly going for 60.
Yeah.
Make no mistake about that. And that's all right.
But my point is, it's not really a bad thing for his team right now.
No.
So they're trying to hold on to the lead. And he just keeps scoring. They lead by 14 now with 1:25 to go. Francis to Garrity. Pat playing so well tonight, and he drills it for 3. 11 points for Garrity, and Orlando's back to within 11 with 1:17 to go, and the subplot continues with Iverson looking for 60. Or is that the main plot, and the Magic come back to subplot? Iverson will go to the line. And if he makes them both, we'll be watching something extremely special. The last time a player scored 60 in a game. We know a little bit about this. T-Mac against Washington last March. Got 62 at the TD Waterhouse Center.
Pat Garrity was up there talking to Deshaun Stevenson, telling him to send him his way.
That makes 59 for Iverson. Now he'll go for 60 with the second. There it is, 60 points for Allen Iverson and a 13-point lead for his team. Nelson tried to feed to Howard and deflected away. Deshaun Stevenson. Rebound Korver. Now Jackson with 45 seconds left. And the Sixers well in control, a 13-point lead. And what a night for Allen Iverson.
He has been tough for everybody all season long. But in particular, against the Magic, they just have not figured out a way to keep him out of the lane, keep him off the free throw line.
And Allen says, here, you take it, Willie. I think I'm done for the night. Standing ovation for Iverson as time ticks away in the fourth quarter. Willie Green's 3 is no good. And that is the end of the game. A night worth remembering for Allen Iverson and the 76ers. A career-high 60 points for the 6-time NBA All-Star. Allen Iverson scoring more than half of his team's points in a 112-99 win over the Magic.